This is Dolly Indigo Star. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in today. Don't forget to click like, subscribe and share. Click on the notifications and you'll get my links. Afternoon guys, welcome to another Raw Talk session with Dolly Indigo Star. Today I have with me Dirk, who served with the British military from 2007 to 2015. He served in Iraq as part of the British Army Air Corps. He was an Airtrooper. He saw a lot of what went on out there. He was boots on the ground. He has some interesting things to share with us today.
Thanks, Dolly. Thank you for this opportunity. I just wanted to say that it's a very unique situation, obviously, because when you're in the military, you're sort of sworn to secrecy. You're not really allowed to speak about a lot of stuff that happens while you're in the military. But I did actually experience a few things that I really have no explanation for. I'm pretty sure it was UFOs. There were two separate occasions, Dolly. The first one, which I can recall, it's very vivid to me. I was out on the HLS one evening. I was just enjoying a bit of QT, bit of quiet time. There was no aircraft due in that evening, so we were just having a bit of relaxation. Sometimes it's like that when you're on operations. It's not always busy. So on this particular night, the sky was relatively clear. There was no bad weather formation or anything like that. So there was no reason to expect that if I had seen anything, it might have been weather related. So
Okay.
I was sitting on the HLS, which is the helicopter landing site. Sorry if I use abbreviations for everything. I was sitting on the HLS, and I'll be honest with you, when you're not looking out for something, there's a lot of detail that you might miss on a situation because you're literally not looking out for something. You're not expecting to see a UFO or just something unusual. You're just having some really like chilled out time. So when I say to you, when I looked up at the sky, I noticed that it was very dark. It might have become dark, whereas before it wasn't very dark. So the way that I'm trying to explain it to you best is that when I noticed that it was very dark, it already was very dark. Okay. So I looked up at the sky, and normally in Afghanistan, it's quite usual on a clear night that you'll see lots of stars. It's a very beautiful place at nighttime, actually, in the desert, because there's no city lights to reflect on the sky and give you. It's sort of like hides a lot of the stars and stuff which you can normally see. Yeah, that's it, light pollution. So when I looked up at the sky, I noticed it was very dark for a strange reason. I was like, wow, that's just extremely dark. You can't really see anything. And there was no sound either. It was very, very quiet. Absolutely no sound. And then 7 lights appeared in the sky, and they were all lined up, perfectly aligned, perfectly distanced apart. And they came on, and they weren't very, very bright, as in they were like shining on me sort of light. They were just noticeable in the sky, slightly to the south of where I was actually sitting. Yes. So I noticed this, and then a mate of mine, his nickname is Bondi. He was actually walking past at the time. I called him over. I said, Bondi, take a look at that. And he looked up, and both him and I both confirmed that we could see these lights in the sky. Neither of us knew what it was, but we had our suspicions as to what we thought it might have been. Because we're both what's known as black illume trained, it means when the pilots and the aircrew are working under NVGs at night, when they're doing operations, they don't want anyone to see them. So if we shoot these flares into the sky, under normal circumstances, we'll shoot a flare into the sky. But under special ops, we'll use black illume. And black illume is basically, it's a very, very faint light that you see. And it actually illuminates the whole sky in infrared. You can see it with infrared goggles on. But we were almost sure that was not black illume, because it was, if you can imagine the characteristics of a flare, it would shoot up in the sky, it will move across, the wind will gently blow it, and it'll eventually sizzle out and it will move. These lights in the sky stayed perfectly aligned, perfectly illuminated, and visible for, it was about 30 minutes that they were in the sky. No noise, not an absolute sound.
Sounds like the Phoenix Lights, what you're describing to me. And
exactly.
I did something like that myself.
Exactly.
I saw it in 1997.
Mm-hmm.
It was the year before I had my daughter.
Yes.
And I saw what I saw, and I was awake, and I looked and saw those 6 balls of light. Would you describe them as glowing objects? What did you see? Describe them.
They just as you put it, they were just balls of light, and I can't say that it was a torch, because it wasn't like a projected light. It was just a visible light, if that makes sense. So it wasn't like shining on me sort of thing. They were just noticeable in the sky. And we were sure that it wasn't black illume, but we had no explanation for it, honestly.
You're saying we, so you had witnesses, other guys that were that saw this.
My friend Bondi, 100%, he was stood next to me, he saw it. But maybe for what it's worth, some people are just more interested and other people are less interested. I don't think he was particularly interested. And after maybe 15 minutes of sitting outside, he just went back into the barrack. And I stayed outside and I watched the entire ordeal. And
what were you thinking? What were you thinking in your head? Because you work in the air troops. You know what's in the air there. You know what's aircraft and helicopters. And obviously, if there was a secret operation taking place, you guys would have been tipped off, I'm guessing. So
because
what were you thinking?
Because we work on the HLS, we're very much directly involved in any operation that takes place, whether it be with the American Army, with the British Army, because we're a refueling, rearming site, essentially, in a FOB, a forward operating base. So if there was operations going on in that night, we would have known about it. And like I said, we wouldn't schedule any aircraft in, and all the weather was all good. The weather was clear. So I know that those lights were not weather related, and I'm pretty damn sure they weren't aircraft related, because people may ask if they think it might have been what's known as an approach light. Helicopters and fixed wing aircraft, they have an approach light. So before they land on an airstrip, they get to a certain height and speed, they radio the tower, and the tower says switch on your approach light. Definitely wasn't an approach light, because the difference between an approach light and what I saw, an approach light is a projected light. It's projecting. It's actually like headlights for the aircraft. It definitely wasn't that. So anyway, these 7 lights, they were on for about half an hour, and then they all just switched off, like almost like in time with each other, and there was no noise, and they were just gone. And then the whole
just disappeared before your eyes?
The whole thing just stopped. Everything was just gone, and I just thought, wow, that was the strangest thing ever. I have no explanation for it.
Question yourself, like, did I see that or did I not see that? Did you question yourself?
I'm pretty sure most people would question themselves, but I had Bondi next to me, and I said, Bondi, do you see that? He saw it. He actually remarked to me, and he said he thinks it's either black illume or it's some sort of a flare on top of a mountain. And for what it was worth that night, I thought, okay, I'm not really familiar with the area. It might be a flare on top of a mountain. I'm not too sure why anyone would be on top of a mountain with a flare, but we'll give it that, because when you first see something as strange as that, you don't just jump to conclusions. You go, that was 100% a UFO sighting. You think about more logical stuff. It could have been a fire. It could have been a torch. It could have been anything. So the next day when we woke up, I went outside. The first thing I was thinking about was have a look on top of that mountain just to see. Maybe it was on. And looked into the horizon. There was no mountain, absolutely no mountainside, nothing.
Okay.
It was just open sky where we saw those lights. So at that moment in time, I knew that was just very, very strange what I'd seen. And it wasn't the only thing I'd seen as well. There was a few bits and bobs that went on. I'll come on to that in a bit.
Tell me more.
Yes.
Tell me more. So
So,
first of all, this incident, because I'm interested in this incident. You've seen these lights.
Yes.
You're with your friend, and you're on. Did you approach anyone else and tell them, like, we've seen something going on up there last night? What was going on? Did you tell anybody?
I spoke to my lance corporal. His name was Shoulders, is his nickname. He said he wasn't really interested in it, and there's nothing that he saw on the live chat. We've got like it's like a messenger service that all the operations speak to each other at the same time. It's like a live chat group, and everyone informs everyone of what's going on the ground, in the air.
Yeah.
He said there was nothing untoward on that evening. So as far as he's concerned, I don't know, maybe he thought I was making it up. He didn't really pay much attention to me. But if I could just go back to what you said, reference the Phoenix lights.
Yes.
It's only probably by the time I got back a year or two later where I got really interested in this, and I thought, what did I actually see there? I did a bit of research, and as you say, the Phoenix lights came up, and I could I could absolutely associate it to the Phoenix lights, and I thought, look, this is really what I saw. And up until the time that I made contact with you, Dolly, I haven't really done any more investigation into it. And then you said prior to this interview, Dirk, do a bit of research, try and see if you can find anything. So I did. I went back, and lo and behold, there was an American soldier in 2011 and another American soldier in 2012. They were both on Camp Leatherneck, which is the exclusive American part of Camp Bastion.
Yeah, Camp Bastion. I was just going to say, I'm familiar with that. Yeah.
They both have photographic evidence of the exact thing that I saw.
Wow.
And if it's okay with you, I'd like to send you the link to that where you may maybe take a photo. So for your viewers, they can actually see a photograph of what I saw. And just for the record as well, Camp Bastion is where all your soldiers go. It's like a big admin area. From Camp Bastion, you go to your FOBs and your mobs or wherever your operation is.
It's like a hub, isn't it? The main hub.
Camp Bastion is the main hub. And we were in FOB Price. And FOB Price and Camp Leatherneck, they were all very close sort of proximity to each other. It's an aircraft ride away. But if you look on the map, the latitude and longitude, the north and south coordinates that you get, so they're very, very similar. So we're not talking about the other side of Afghanistan. They're quite close. And he saw these lights in Camp Leatherneck, which is Camp Bastion. They were very, very close to Camp Price, to where I saw them. So it's all within the same area. He saw it in 2011. Someone else saw it in 2012. And I saw it in 2013. So it was almost like annually these lights would pop up. And from what I uncovered as well, there's not much more evidence on that apart from those pictures and maybe eyewitnesses comparing it to the Phoenix lights. But I'm very happy with that, especially that photo that soldier took. And just for your viewers, I'd like to give them some background as to why I never had a camera.
Absolutely.
It sounds like a strange thing.
That was my next question is, did you get any evidence of this that you saw, you know, because I know guys do now and again take phones out there, but because of, explain a little. We
were told, the British Army has told us, I know the American Army, that they've got different rules and stuff, right? So they just live by their rules, we live by our rules. So the British Army is told prior to deployment, you're not supposed to take out means of communication with you. I'm talking about phones, pages, anything that can transmit or receive a signal. For the obvious reason, if you're sat there projecting a signal and you're in a bit of a sensitive area, the Taliban or ISIS or someone could actually pick up on your GPS location, and you might give away your entire location and risk everyone's safety on the entire base. So I was honest about it. I never took cameras, and I don't know if anyone else did, but I never had a camera. And that is why I was unable to take the photograph on the evening. I'm pretty sure I would have. But the Americans were allowed to take cameras, and that's why there's... If you look online, you'll find a lot of the eyewitnesses and stuff. They're all Americans talking about this, and the pictures and the videos, they're all Americans. because they're allowed to have footage. So to cut a long story short,
I was just going to ask,
not
have
allowed
you contacted any of these guys? Have you got together? Have you spoken to any of these guys personally that have seen the same thing?
I haven't, no. But come to think of it, it's probably a good shot. I'll make a note of that, and especially that that photo that I'm going to supply you with. I'll try and make contact with that guy and see how it goes, because I'm sure he'll be interested, and you might even get an interview with him as well if it all works out.
That would be fantastic.
I'm sure he'd like that. When he hears my story, he'll totally be down with that.
Yeah. And you're one of many that is stepping forward now and coming forward with what they've seen, because it's an important time that we're all in at the moment. Everything's like a little bit confused and not making sense, and it's like it's now the open highway for us all to come out with what we know and we've experienced and what we think's going on. And there's been many things that have taken place over there in Iraq. I mean, since 2003, I think, onwards, it's still to present day. There's still things now currently going on out there. But that was just one incident, wasn't it? And you was posted to quite a few little places around there, and you told me an interesting story which absolutely captivated me about the caves up there.
The caves. Dolly, all we were told, don't go near the caves. You may not go in the caves. You may not touch the door to the cave. Don't sniff around. Don't take pictures. Don't draw the caves. Stay away from the caves. So as far as I was concerned, completely out of bounds. I'll just have you know that during what's known as R&R, which is rest and relaxation, when somebody leaves Afghanistan, they go home to their family for 2 weeks while you're on tour. And that's the reason why they move us around. And I was an HLS commander, so for me, it's easy to move me around because I'm radio trained, aircraft trained, or et cetera. So I moved to this base called FOB Shawkat. And you can look this up on Wikipedia. The lat long it's in the Wikipedia. And on FOB Shawkat is where you might find these apparently they're tunnels and caves that just no one knows where they lead to. No one knows what they're for. But the Afghan government, to some degree, has allowed the British Army to maintain a presence there and to have a base there. And somewhere along the line in their agreement, they've said, all right, them caves, stay away from those caves. And they've actually got these big gates up, like
are they
big
guarded?
welded
Guarded.
Yeah, they're like massive big steel gates that are like closing them off. We're not allowed inside there. And I've done all the research I possibly can, and nothing comes up. It's almost like people don't want you to know about those caves. And I've even tried to research Shawkat as much as I can, and there was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. There's no historical facts. I think it might have something to do with perhaps the Taliban did destroy a lot of architectural sort of bits and bobs that they might have had in Afghanistan. You know, the Taliban, they were quite nasty when they came through. They were destroying a lot of stuff.
They were destroying artifacts and things like that. And
I'm not sure if that's got anything to do with it, and maybe they were just protecting those caves for what might have been in those caves.
They could have.
But just like you, I'm very interested. I'm very interested as to what's in those caves. And in a brief conversation I had with someone, they did mention the caves are extremely old, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds, maybe thousands of years old. They're very old caves.
Could be entrances to inner earth maybe, and go deeper into the earth. Or were they in the mountains? Were they?
I was in the Helmand province. It's quite mountainous region, but the best way to explain it to you is where that base was, Shawkat. It wasn't particularly mountainous like we were in a mountain somewhere. It's quite flat, open area. So these caves really stood out. And the best best way I can describe it is whilst walking around the camp, you walk around the entrances and that just as though nothing's even there because you're just told just forget about it. But the best way I could describe them is they look like giant ant mounds. Do you know how ants build like they're big? It looks like that, and that's how the entrances went into these caves down into the ground. And I'm sorry I don't have any more information on that, but it's just worth noting there is something there.
How interesting. I've heard
absolutely
similar stories of soldiers that have come out and described similar things, and to be quite bluntly, they've said that they've seen creatures come out and things that
really,
you know, so strange things, you know, and it's all been covered up. Who knows? It can only go along there with the conspiracies. But the real nitty-gritty truth is that there is such structures like these anthill with entrances that go in that are sealed off.
Yeah, they've been sealed off.
Know about.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a strange old thing. Maybe I wouldn't have cared about the caves, but one of the first things they said to me when I got there, the sergeant major in charge, he said, don't go near the caves. Okay. You don't really question the sergeant major, you just do what he says. But why is it part of the safety brief, the welcome to Shortcut brief? He'll tell you there's the toilet, there's the cookhouse, that's where you're sleeping, and those caves, don't go near the caves. Why is it part of like the whole introduction to the place? It makes it more intriguing. What is in there? What's going on?
Would you know where it was if you were taken back there? Would you know where it was?
Shortcut. I'm pretty sure we can find out because I know some ex-pilots who would have been flying in the region, but they would be more familiar with the exact coordinates. As I say, I only got in the back of an aircraft. I was flown there and dropped off while the dude was on R&R, and then I came back again. So, like in terms of me traveling to and from there, yeah, maybe I could point it out. If you drop me in the area, we'd certainly be able to find the caves because they're big caves. They're there.
Well, as you know, I work alongside Anunnaki history and forbidden knowledge as well. And we cover things like Mesopotamia and ancient Iraq and Jordan, Lebanon, all the temples and places that are over there. Did you come across places like that over there, temples and structures and really old artifacts?
And I didn't personally, Dolly, because I spend most of my time, I guess you could say, in the safety of the FOB itself. So my job wasn't really going out on missions and patrols. But during my time there, probably the Phoenix Lights, the caves, and something else we're going to talk about in a second, which happened on Mob Price. I didn't really see much else happening out there. It was just day-to-day sort of work for me, you know, aircraft in, aircraft out.
I'm just getting the feeling that they could have been protecting something up there. It sounds to me like something was being protected on those lands. We've got lights, we've got caves, we've got... So you said UFOs. You had something else. Come on.
Yeah, this is the one I'm saving, this one, the best or last. I'm saving it. So, like... we were very fortunate this one evening. The special ops, the American special ops landed, and they'd given us some cigars and just some sweets and stuff. And for the record, it was definitely Cuban cigars. There was no funny stuff there because obviously we soldiers. There's no drugs allowed or anything like that. So we had some cigars and whatnot. We chilled with them. They left because they're quite friendly guys. You know, everyone's normal. We're not robots.
No.
So the one night I took a stroll after the Americans were there. I took a stroll up to the top of the hill on the sort of the top of the HLS, and towards the east. I know it's the east because on the radio when we speak to the aircraft, it's egress to and from the east. So it's the general direction the aircraft are coming and landing and taking off to. So that's how come I know it's the east. And I was looking out into the open and. From what I could make out, I know what a helicopter looks like at nighttime in the sky. I know what a jet looks like. I know what an aeroplane looks like. I know you've got the collision lights going on. You've got the port side and starboard lights that are on the green and red lights. I know what aircraft looks like when it's moving around. I know how fast the aircraft moves. I know how slow it moves. I know the agility of aircraft, which has got to be the main thing here. When you're talking about agility, you know what's from planet Earth and you know what's not from planet Earth.
Okay.
Right? So I'm sitting up there. I had a cigar. I'd smoked a cigar. I was just chilling out, thinking of my family back home. And out in the horizon, probably about 50 kilometers away. I know that sounds far, but I'm pretty good with judging distance.
Yeah.
Again, being in the army, we need to know this sort of stuff. 50 kilometers or so on the horizon. Clear night again. It's always clear. And these lights are buzzing around. And I'm looking carefully and I'm just thinking to myself, those are not helicopters. Those are not jets. Absolutely not jets. And then I look at, and I'll describe to you as best I can how these lights were moving. They were like standing still in the sky and then moving around like that and then darting across the sky and then stopping, then buzzing around a bit and then flying back again. There was more than one of them. There was about 3 or 4 of them flying around doing different things. But just the way they were moving in the sky, they were not 100%, they were not helicopters. They were not jets either. I'm telling you right now, they were not from planet Earth right now. If I had a Bible, I would swear on it.
I love
Those
it.
lights,
That's what I want to hear. That's exactly what I want to hear from the truth, boots on the ground, somebody telling me that they're not scared to tell me what they've seen. And they've seen, you're describing to me as UFOs, and you're in the army, you're not intoxicated, you're not on any drugs, you're highly trained, you've got the best equipment, and you're telling me that you've seen UFOs. And
I tell you what, after I'd seen that, and then just probably about a week or 2 before I'd seen what we've already spoke about, the Phoenix lights, I'm starting to think, you know what, there's some strange stuff going on up here in Afghanistan. This is not normal, all right? This is not normal. So as any normal person would do, I'm rubbing my eyes, all right? Make sure there's no sleep in my eyes, there's no sand in my eyes. I'm still here, I'm pinching myself. This is real. I'm looking at this. I look out into the horizon. There is a few of these things buzzing around. This is really going on. And they're going on about their night like it's like normal. They're not trying to hide anything. The best way I could describe it is it's very similar to how you would describe an orb.
Okay, yes.
A light orb.
Yes.
Just a light. It wasn't flashing. It wasn't bright. It wasn't particularly dim. Just like an orb flying around. And those patterns moving around, I'll do it in my top left screen here so you can see a bit clearer. But they were like hovering around, dashing across, dashing back, moving around, going up and down like this, and then across the sky. But the distance they were covering, you've got to remember when I'm looking across the horizon and then like shooting across, that's too far, too fast. Jets don't travel that speed unless they're like doing the speed of sound. And if a jet was doing the speed of sound, you'd hear it. All of this takes place with relatively no noise. There's not a lot of noise. So there's no like jet engines roaring, or you couldn't mistaken it for guns or like cannons.
And I suppose you do know the secret stuff, what to look for as well. I mean, because we do know that they have got, some high class planes and things like that have been disclosed. So you would have known that it wasn't them like the TR-3B or anything like that they've got.
To cover that point, I'm allowed to speak about it now because I'm not in the military anymore. And I hope I'm not stepping on anyone's secret sort of act or anything. But in Afghanistan, they use what's known as the MPGS balloon. I'm not too sure what the abbreviation stands for, MPGS. Maybe someone can comment below or something. But it's a giant balloon that goes up into the sky and it sits stationary and it's tied down. It's tethered down, and underneath the balloon there's a camera, and that it looks into like it's about 50-mile radius. It looks all around, and these things are all over Afghanistan. And that's how we keep security in Afghanistan. They're very clear as well. The cameras can zoom in pretty far, and they've got night vision and stuff, but they don't move around. So if I was looking at a big balloon in the sky with a camera underneath it, it would just be stationary, and it wouldn't be a light either, because if there was a light, there'd be a target. The Taliban would shoot them out the sky because they know what it is. So 100% it wasn't a balloon. 3 or 4 of them moving around. This all happened on one night, and it was a lot to take in after what I'd seen with those other lights. So I went back to my where we were staying on the HLS, went to sleep. Next day, normal work. After work, I had my shower and everything, and I thought, I'm going to just go back up there and have a look and see if I can't see anything again. So I've gone back up there, and lo and behold, it's all there again. It's all happening again. And I didn't grow tired of this. I witnessed this 5, 6, 7 times during the time that I was actually there. It was so normal. You have to understand that no one cared about it. So I thought, well, surely there's nothing to see here. There's nothing to worry about. But it did worry me, but not to the point where I was sort of panicky. And I thought, right, I really have to do something about this. It was just normal.
What
worried me because the way they were moving, it wasn't from planet Earth. They were moving too fast, and the agility as well. The agility, like moving around like really fast, down and up, changing altitude too quickly, and then moving distances too quickly, and then going back again without light, without sound. And you'd almost imagine if you were to take a flashlight and flick it across the sky, it would sort of leave like you'd see like a line, like a bit of glow behind it, like it would leave a bit of glow. So if it was a jet engine or something, there'd sort of be a little glow behind it. If you can imagine like a meteor or something, it leaves like a bit of a fireball behind it. There was nothing like that. It was just the light, just the orb moving across the sky. It just, it was there for the taking.
And was it
I'm so sorry.
Was it going through your head like I think? I mean, were you in soldier mode of like, did you go like beyond the thought of the actual craft itself and think to yourself now, and well, what is inside the craft? Who is occupying?
I couldn't tell you because I wasn't close enough to say that it was a craft, Dolly. So I don't want your listeners to think I'm making stuff up here. The way that I've described it, the best I could describe it was an orb shape, just a round ball of light.
But you thought it was extraterrestrial in origin?
It had to be, yes, it had to be, because there's no ways that human aircraft moves like that. I've been around the aviation world. I still work for an airport. I fuel jets for a living.
Yeah,
I'm very familiar with takeoff and landing of fixed wing and rotary, which is going to be your helicopters. A little bit of fast jet down in RNAS Yeovilton. I was based down there as well, so I know the speeds of these aircraft and the sounds that they make and the lights that they emit, and I know a lot of the characteristics just from sitting down and watching it. And what I saw there was not from planet Earth.
So has it sent your world into a different spin now? Have you changed?
Well, I'm definitely more aware of things. Yeah. I'm more aware of things. If you were to tell me there's no such thing as aliens, there's no such thing as UFOs, I would kindly agree with you. But in my head, I'm thinking that's actually not true. I don't really want to scare people and make them think like there's stuff out there that we need to be scared of. You don't need to be scared of it.
No.
Being inquisitive is fun. I'm inquisitive about it. And that is why I made contact with you, because I was reading one of your blogs. And I said, I think in Afghanistan, give me a call. That's why I made contact with you. Because it's interesting that people are coming out and talking about it. But it's also a very it's a very sensitive subject to the point where governments don't really want you to talk about it. And a lot of people, unless you've seen this sort of stuff, that they think you're a bit crazy. So maybe I am crazy. Maybe they've put me down as crazy. I'm not sure. But, I know what I saw. 100% seen it. 100%.
So has it continued for you now that you're out the army? Do you still see these things? Do you still?
I look for it all the time. There's not a day that goes by. I've not been blessed enough to see lights in here or anything strange. I bought myself a big telescope. I spent a lot of time staring at the stars and at the moon. Very interested in the Mars rovers and the images that they put back, and having a look through all the anomalies and stuff like that. But I haven't really seen anything else. You know, life just goes on. It's back to normal. I've promised myself that if ever the opportunity comes about where I may be able to go back to Afghanistan with a film crew or even my own camera, I just want to take my own camera. I want to go and revisit that site, and I need to make peace with myself. I know what I saw, but it's almost like my mind is at conflict with me, trying to trick me and say, you didn't really see what you saw. But I know that I saw it. 100% I've seen it.
That's a great response. And
so I just need that confirmation journey. I want to go there and go, boom.
We've got a bad...
Give me the opportunity. Let's go. Let's go to Afghanistan.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's go. Now that you've got your own evidence and your own truth, do you feel that disclosure is imminent, that this information comes out now? Do you think we have a time limit on the truth of UFOs coming out?
Dolly, the truth is UFOs are there already. They've always been there. And humans are too quick to judge each other. If we don't see it for ourselves, we just tarnish these poor people with the craziness brush. That's why I don't really come out with it. And I'm pretty sure that's why a lot of people else don't come out with it, because they don't want to be labeled as crazy. Okay, but in terms of the greater population, planet Earth, I truly think that we're just not ready as a race, human race, to embrace extraterrestrial to the point where we're satisfied with aliens visiting us and UFOs landing on planet Earth. I think it's still a very taboo subject. If you were to speak to 70% of the population, they probably wouldn't really entertain this much. They'll think it's crazy talk, and it's fine. So my honest opinion is, no, I don't think we're sort of subject to massive discoveries in the very, very sort of near future. Nothing more than what we already know. I mean, the people who are aware of it are aware of it, and the people who are not aware of it probably treat it as some sort of crazy film on Netflix or something when they see it. So
interesting.
Yeah, I hope that answers what you're trying to answer.
Yes, thank you so much. And I do believe that we are going to be coming up there. I'm going to come up there, and I'm going to be some boots on the ground with you. We're going to do a little bit of research up there in Wiltshire, and perhaps go to Stonehenge and Avebury, and we're going to look at some other sites and do a bit of communication, C5 and things like that. So that should be interesting. Dirk Reynen, thank you so much for being a guest, for your truth and knowledge today. And I'll get you back, I think, to find out more.
Thank you so much, Dolly.
You are welcome.
Absolutely, yeah, anytime.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Have a lovely day. Cheers. Namaste.
This is Dolly Indigo Star. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in today. Don't forget to click like, subscribe and share. Click on the notifications and you'll get my links.
I just wanted to add something. It's a little bit completely, a little bit off topic, but it's just to sort of get your thought process going. All right. Why is it that all these anomalies and strange sightings and sort of, you could almost say hard evidence that we could obtain right now. We could obtain evidence right now of UFOs. You and I could go to Afghanistan, but we can't, because all these places, especially in the Middle East, Afghanistan, Iraq, all these lovely places, they're always in a state of war, and they have been for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. Humans, normal humans, we can't go there. We can't just book a flight to Afghanistan with our cameras and go there and take photos and go to the rest of the world. Oh, yeah, there's the photographic evidence. Boom, it's proven. We actually can't do that. We're severely prevented from doing that. And I know there might be a lot of sort of conspiracies behind that and theories as to whether or not it's true or not. But there's this very interesting book that I've just ordered on eBay. It's called The Gods of Eden, where they delve into that conspiracy and they talk about it, and they're challenging why people are actually saying that this is not real. Where I think there's really something there. Why is it all these very, very hot zones for UFOs and alien encounters? They're in a state of war, and we can't get there. You and I literally cannot go there. So I thought I'll just like sort of stimulate your thought process.
Really,
if you're thinking about
it.
We can't go there. We literally can't go there.
They're restricted. So, it's forbidden. Yeah. It's forbidden.
Anyone who's thinking, exactly. Anyone who's thinking of next summer catching a flight to Afghan and taking some pictures of UFOs, or even trying to debunk what you and I have been speaking about today, it's not entirely that easy. You literally need to go there with 10 soldiers, all highly trained, all fully suited and booted, weapons, bulletproof vests. You know, it's a mission. If you went there, it's actually a mission, and you might die. Someone might shoot you and kill you. It's crazy. The state of mind of people there, it's a war zone. So, just for the record, we can't go there. Maybe you'd be lucky. You would have to grow a big beard and sort of blend in with the crowd a little bit.
All these stories and myths and legends about gods, goddesses, and God, and they all stem from these holy lands, yet they're forbidden for us to go and embrace.
Yes.
Like we're restricted and kept away from the truth that's there.
Absolutely.
Protected.
That's it. There's even parts of like Egypt right now. You know, Egypt's not at war, not in like an actual war. Although there's probably a lot of fighting going on in various parts of Egypt. But if you went to the pyramids of Gaza and all that, you wouldn't be allowed access into these places for a number of reasons. They'll probably tell you because they don't want you to damage stuff. It's very old and stuff like that. But all the information is, we're not allowed to have it. We're not allowed to see it. We can't just go there and just satisfy our souls and literally find out for ourselves. We have to rely on interviews like this taking place. I account for like sort of eyewitnesses and stuff, giving their verbal sort of accounts of what happened, as opposed to having factual evidence. And that's what makes the whole debate very, very strange, because people could quite easily take this as a load of nonsense. It might be nonsense. It might not be. Why don't I prove it? Because I wasn't able to. I didn't have camera on me. I didn't have a phone on me. I didn't carry my iPhone when I was in Afghanistan. That would have been easy. Boom, I'd have taken loads of pictures. But we're just not able to. There's always something that prevents us from getting the hard proof. So the more people that come forward and the more people that share their information, I truly believe there'll be some good stuff out there. People just haven't come forward with it. But I'll leave that with you, that thought.
Thank you so much for coming forward and brilliant in your bravery. Thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you so much, Dolly. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Cool.
So the cave system there was a movie that came out about some soldiers that were out there in Iraq that went on a special secret mission into some caves and discovered something, and none of them came back. And I know there's a few stuff out there on the internet that's floating about as could possibly be conspiracy. But my theory is with conspiracies is they have to start somewhere. And the truth can quite easily turn into a lie depending what you add to it. Yeah. So I always say with a conspiracy, there's a little truth in it somewhere. So I'm kind of questioning with this caves that you've mentioned and it kind of all correlates that there is more that is actually going on out there that the public is being let aware of.
Censored.
Yeah, it's been censored, and I do know they're starting to pull troops out of there now, and it's beginning to relax a little bit more again. And I'm just wondering why. Why is it beginning to relax again all of a sudden? Will people be allowed to start traveling back into there? Will it be safe for people to travel to places?
Yeah. So it's a great question. I think it's all going to boil down to what we spoke about earlier, where as soon as there's immediate information available, like the ability to go there and find out for ourselves, all of a sudden, boom, there's another war that starts. I mean, you just never know with these presidents. They take over. Might be any president, doesn't necessarily have to be the American president himself, but you just never know when the war is going to start. And to this day, can we justify any wars really that have started? The Afghan war, the Iraq war, were they really truly justified? Did we really need to have a war there? People died and lots of horrible things happened, but the fact that a war took place and is currently dying down and sort of unraveling right now, it points into the direction that you're asking, are we going to be able to go back there and perhaps uncover some hard evidence? I can't really answer that. I don't know, because for all we know, another war might start. And then it will just never happen. This has been going on for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. There's never been a time in these sort of places where it's been absolute peace that anybody can go there and visit. It's just never happened. So why would it just all of a sudden be okay to go there? Start taking photos and, writing books about it. It'd be very difficult.
The people of the lands are beautiful. I mean, I have some very close friends that are Iraqi and Iranian, and from all areas, Egyptians. And it's just that the people themselves are sad themselves that they can't share their own culture with the rest of the world, that they're being cut from.
Yes. I probably should have said this declaration right at the beginning. I don't have any sort of problems with people from Afghanistan or Iraq or Egypt or anyone. I'm not against anybody. I'm just merely stating that there is a war taking place. There was a war. And when I was there, I was part of the war. And because I was in the army, I was told to be there. So this isn't me sort of saying that they're lesser humans than us, or we're better than them, and that's why we were there having a war. It isn't really about that. I always look at the big picture, and for me, the big picture is, why is there always a war there? There's always war. There's always conflict, and it's not to do with these normal people that live there. These beautiful people. I'm sure there are. There is baddies there. There's actual baddies there. They just got really messed up thoughts, and they want to kill people. But they all seem to sort of condense in these places. The Taliban and ISIS and all these crazy people.
I spoke to friends of mine and women, especially, and men, and they've explained to me that, they can't get to their own truth, and they can't get to their own artifacts, and some of these ancient places, they can't get to them themselves to find out their own culture. And it's a bit the same as us. We're restricted from everything. So it's not just us that's restricted. They're even being restricted themselves from their own truth. It's kind of messed up.
I don't know how true this is, but I've heard that just before President Bush sent troops into Iraq, right in the beginning, there was a special operation that took place where they raided the museums and the likes thereof, and they stole artifacts and stuff from these. Well, I say stole. They recovered, protected, didn't want them to get damaged. But it fits it in with the whole narrative. What did they take? What did they see? What did they know was there that was so important that there's a war that's going to start, but the president has literally said, but before you start the war, make sure you go and get that thing or those things that are there, apparently. So,
astounding.
You hear all this stuff. There's just no proof. No one gets held accountable. There's no accountability for it. And, just stuff like that does go on.
I've seen a lot of artifacts. I've seen a lot of artifacts that you mentioned myself with my own eyes that have come direct from there that are in museums globally.
Yes.
You know, I've been in hundreds of museums and I've seen artifacts that have been preserved, kept.
They say preserved.
Kept.
It's just such a convenient thing, isn't it, that they almost have the right to go and just violate these people and these lands of these things. But in a way, it might be a good thing as well, because there is some sort of archaeological proof that's come out of there, but we're not allowed to see it. And what was it anyway? What did Bush send his special ops troops in to Iraq before the war to go and take from those museums? What did he want? Was it a key?
Did he know? What did he want? What was he looking for? A portal key. Interesting.
Yeah.
I've got the name of that movie for you, and anybody out there that wants to watch the movie, it's called The Objective. I'd suggest you go and have a look at it. The Objective, all right. Yeah, it's called The Objective.
I shall, yes.
It's an interesting one, and it mentions in there a portal. Yeah, there's a portal. Yeah, there's a guard in a portal. And I've heard this a few times, that there's many scattered across the desert.
Through bits and bobs.
Yeah, through bits and bobs and in caves. And we've got tales of Vimanas being hidden and secrets and who knows what is in the mountains of Iraq up there. And what's guarding, really?
Who actually knows is a brilliant question, because I surely don't know. But what I can tell your viewers, 100%, there are caves there. I was at the mouth of these caves. I was at the entrance, and there's big old steel gates that have been welded up. It's big steel, you know. It's massive, big steel gates. You can't get in there. You can't even go for a little sneaky look. It's just no access. You're not allowed. And what are these caves randomly doing there anyway? What are they for? So.
Wow. So heavily guarded. If you go in, you'll be shot.
I wouldn't have thought it's to that point, because the steel gates do a pretty good job on their own right. We are the people on the camp guarding the camp.
Yeah.
We are the guards. Yes. So there's no reason for me to feel like someone would want to shoot me for going in there. If you understand, the gates are sort of stopping anyone. And that's just about as far as it gets. It just ends right there.
Excellent. Amazing, man. Great information. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Just strangely enough, he's just that guy from Wiltshire.
Yeah, I don't just do like UFO things. I mean, I think it all fits together, really. Everything correlates together. I do a bit of archaeology, a bit of anthropology. I do a bit of anomaly hunting. I'm just looking for life out there within the universe, because like you, myself, I've seen strange things that I just can't explain. I know that they're not helicopters. And, I've seen some other stuff to go with it, and it's just like I want to know what they are.
Yeah. You know when you know it, honestly. You know it when you know it. When you see it. It's definitely not a helicopter. It's definitely not a plane. It's just two that they just move with such precision and such speed and no sound, and it's not right. Honestly, it's not human. It's not planet Earth. I'm sorry.
I'm sure there's a landing platform up in Salisbury. I'm sure it was a spaceport. I'm sure Stonehenge was a spaceport, and Avebury was, because Salisbury is why they've got their military bases there, if you like, because I think there was a big ancient spaceport there, and they're probably protecting it somewhere along those plains that you can't go across, because you can't.
I don't think no one's ever really said the actual reason why Stonehenge remains why it's there and what it does. So people have said they feel energy. There's sort of a magnetic presence there. There's too many sort of theories on that.
Been?
Yes, I have. But I find, do you know what? I'll tell you honestly, I think Stonehenge is a bit spoiled. It's a bit. There's too many people. There's too much energy there. There's too much interest there. There's too much of like everybody's trying to find the answer through the Stonehenge, and it's almost been it's been spoiled, if you know what I mean. There's just too much going on there. I like stuff that's just people aren't there, where there's no people.
Distorted. It seems the energy's got a bit distorted there.
Yes. There's too many people there and we have our own energy. You know, we bring along our own energy, and cars as well. Cars moving around in motorways and there's airplanes, and there's just so much going on there in Sainsbury, and it's just like it's to me personally, I feel it's a bit diluted. It's a bit sort of, it's not what it should be. And if ever I went there, I wouldn't be able to connect properly. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Have you been to Avebury? Have you seen Avebury Stones Procession? Have you never been? It's great.
I've heard of it, but I've not been. Because every time I'm down there, I end up going on the piss with Bondi, and we never get there.
See, we need to get you, instead of going on the piss with Bondi, to take you to bloody to Avebury Stones, mate. And seriously, there's a big henge there, and it's like the processional lineup to Stonehenge, and it's got something to do with Orion's belt as well. It's got a processional lineup that lines up with the sky on the lane on the ley lines exactly, and it's all aligned with the equinoxes and solstices. It's amazing, this stuff. And these stones are as old as the stones of Stonehenge, and it's in its own little henge, but you are free to go around and touch them, and it's not so more disgusting than Stonehenge, but it's actually the gateway. So interesting place. You might like that, and there's a great pub there.
I'm hoping sometime during the spring, the summer, things can ease off a little bit. I've got to bring the dogs and the kids. We all need a good run down there, so we'll sort of make our way down there, and maybe we'll meet up in Devon or something. But on the way, we might stop off in Aylesbury and have a look. And I want to go really see the Sainsbury's church, the church in Sainsbury's, because there's some kings that are buried there apparently, and some mummies. Isn't there mummies there? There's mummies there. In
Salisbury Cathedral.
You know the cathedral, there's like preserved remains of past kings and stuff there. So it's a strange old place.
Yeah,
anyway, I just want to go visit there.
I think
show
it's
the family.
In Devizes, I'm not sure. Is it in Devizes? Might be.
You mean sure. The king?
Yeah. Interesting place.
Sounds familiar, yes.
Yeah. Very interesting place, England, and all the ancient names and tales to do with King Arthur and the Templar and the Knights Templar and the secret societies and skullduggery and space lizards jumping on the throne, and you name it, we've got it in England. You know?
I tell you what, it was only recently, was it Billy Carlson who mentioned that the tablets of life? What was he referring to? The life tablets, or the tablets of life was something like that. They're here in a museum in the United Kingdom, in London.
Okay.
Those tablets, the clay tablets.
Are you on about the King's List?
No. He said that the tablets of life was something, the rules of life, or something like that. I'll probably have to get back to you on it, but he mentioned it. He said they're here in the United Kingdom, in London, in a museum in London.
Yeah, it was the museum I visited, the Ashmolean Museum. Yeah.
So it's not the emerald tablets, it's the clay. There's clay tablets.
No. It's the Epic of Gilgamesh. It's basically the Atrahasis, which is a collection of 3 tablets. Old Akkadian and Babylonian, and it was split into the first collections of Genesis and creation myths and Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah.
It off, and
Okay.
the first King's List is actually in the Ashmolean Museum in London. I've been there and seen a lot of things there that are not behind glass screens and things. You can get up those. The King's List is behind a glass case.
Okay.
It's there, and it's so tiny. The cuneiform is so tiny.
Really?
Really, really, really tiny. It's not. Some of these clay tablets are literally as big as my. They're like so tiny.
Really?
They're not really big tablets. They're not. No.
You think they're like sort of big, right?
No, they're not. Some of them, if I get this pen, some of the tablets are about as big as the top of that pencil.
Wow. Extremely small.
They're a bit wider, and the cylinder scrolls, the little scrolls that actually come in different forms of precious stones like agate, amethyst, jade, quartz, and those are recorded in like pictographs going round a cylinder scroll, and when they're rolled out wet onto the clay tablets, they form pictures. Imprinted. And seriously, some of those scrolls are the same size. They are so tiny. So how on earth
I didn't know that.
Yeah. If you get the chance, go up to the Ashmolean Museum. You'll be amazed.
Ashmolean, you say? Is that in London? Ashmolean?
Yeah, in Oxford, in London.
Okay,
yeah.
Oh, Oxford Circus.
Yes, near there.
Oxford Circus.
Yes.
Because Oxford is in Reading. Is Oxford?
Yes, just outside Reading. Just outside Reading. Oxford in Reading. Just outside the Ashmolean.
Oh, you mean Oxford in... Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Good thing I didn't go to Oxford Circus in London.
No, don't
That's
go
why I was just confirming with you. You mean the actual city Oxford versus
the actual city
London,
Oxford,
okay,
where the uni is and the museums are, and great place Oxford. Big shout out to Oxford.
All right.
Hey, Oxford.
Yeah, man. Hey, I'm not even that far from Oxford.
Great.
I'm close to Oxford. I'm half an hour away.
So this is the beauty of my job. I get to be boots on the ground now, and I am privileged enough that I've been funded now a little bit by sources that are supporting me to be actual boots on the ground, and I've got archaeologists working with me globally now. So there's on the cards, there's Turkey on the cards, Spain on the cards.
Wow, Turkey.
Yeah, we're going.
Nice.
Yeah, we're going to go to Göbekli Tepe. Yeah.
This is Dolly Indigo Star. Thank you so much for watching and tuning in today. Don't forget to click like, subscribe and share. Click on the notifications and you'll get my links.